Today's episode is sponsored by Sandals Resorts. What's up, Chillas? Friend of the Bridechilla show and professional extraordinaire, Kevin Dennis, one of the members of the Bridechilla Nerd Club, is back in the house.
Thanks for having me back.
The last time you were on the show, it was you and Megan, and we did our 90s and 2000s pop culture edition. And towards the end, when making a prediction, you predicted that if Taylor and Travis finally got engaged, that it would be the proposal and wedding of all.
Break the internet. I
joked. Look what happened. Just like a month or two later.
And they broke the internet that day. And it was crazy because if you read back, okay, I'm not a Swiftie. I'm going to start off with this little disclaimer. But I do like the New Heights podcast. And I am more team Jason than I am team Travis. I'll be honest with you. I think Jason is hilarious. But it was the night that he had her on the podcast, he proposed. And it was like so crazy because if you go back and look at that episode and see the things that were happening, you could see him a little nervous about what he was about to do. So, but yeah. And the fact that they keep it a secret for so long and then released it on something that had to do with 13. I don't know. There's all the numbers and I'm not, again, not a Swiftie to where I get into it, but yes.
No, agreed. I love like when they go back and show the freeze frame of when she's saying my boyfriend and he has a look on his face like,
yeah,
not for long.
So much to uncap on that, but we're not there to talk about.
No, but I wonder like what their entertainment's going to be like for their.
Could you imagine? It's going to be a mess.
Selena Gomez, like who's going to come out and perform? Ed Sheeran.
Oh yeah.
All the peeps.
She's got lots of buddies.
Well, and with that, though, as a professional now, working with couples that are planning, have you started seeing inklings from couples of like, hey, this floral from the proposal, or I'm starting to see now for bachelorette parties, my, like, instead of life of a showgirl, it's wife of a showgirl era is now starting to, like, uptick and stuff like that. Are you starting to see that from couples?
It's you're starting to see, like, just mimics of kind of what happened, but nothing... Because we don't know anything yet. So I think once we, and we may never know anything. And that's a good thing to remember. It just depends if they make this wedding, how public they make the wedding will determine how I think it's going to influence our industry. Because if it's like a royal wedding where it's televised, you never know. They could be working on an Amazon deal right now, since he's on Amazon, with the podcast, you never know, like if it, like, I think that will break the industry, but it's how public they allow us in, I think will determine how it's going to affect us. Because if they make it like a royal wedding, I think that's really what's going to break would break us because we would, there'd be so many, but also I think this is going to be if they make the date public, I think that will affect the wedding industry because there's so many of these, people that love her or love him will want to get married on the same day as that, so, I mean, that
move their wedding date so it's not on the same date. Because no one's going to want to pay attention if it's at the same time.
Well, but or they're going to want to have the same date as them, some of them are into the numbers. You never know.
Yeah.
So it's just, I think there's a lot still to unpackage in everything that's going on, but I think it's going to be fun to see. And did I tell you? I don't know if I did tell you. So her keyboardist, and I always forget the girl's name, which I should probably remember because I tell this story enough. So this girl was a maid of honor at a wedding that I was performing at. And she kept talking about how the bride was so supportive of her. And it would go, and they were like friends. They've been friends since they were like little, like kindergarten or some crazy thing. And kept saying how she would go see her at her shows and then was so supportive of her music career. And then at one point I'm like, it just kept going, right? And I'm like, who the hell is this girl? I pop in her name and boom, the first photo that pops up on because, I'm nosy. And so I'm like over there, popped her name into Google while she was giving. And this all happened while she was giving the speech. And boom, the first photo that pops up of her is her and Taylor Swift. And so then I did a little bit more super sleuthing on Google and come to find out she's been on the air, she's been with her for a while on the Eras tour and then come to find out the couple planned this wedding to be on the break of the Eras tour. So it happened.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. In a break of the Eras tour because the bride and her are like their BFFs. So
Oh,
anyway,
that's great. Her guitarist is from here.
Like-
Like I actually had hung out with him back in the day before he went on tour
oh,
with
that's
her.
hilarious.
I was
That's
hanging out
crazy.
with Paul at a bar that I had been bartending at that was off that night. And he was, I think, previously in one of the Eagles tribute bands that toured. That's like pretty big. And he was like, yeah, he's like, I'm moving to Nashville. I'm going to be a guitarist for this up and coming country singer, Taylor Swift.
Oh, wow. That's so crazy.
Yeah. Yep. So
You
shout out
never
to Paul.
know.
You never know. Before we get off the Taylor topic, something you said, I want to point out, like if anyone is currently not engaged yet and listening, I love that they did wait a couple weeks before announcing their engagement, that they gave themselves time to tell all their close family and friends. They got to enjoy the moment before being bombarded. Like, I think it's really important because I think it's so easy, especially in the social media age, to get caught up in immediately posting it.
Post without
It's so easy to do. You're so excited, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Give yourself time.
Well, and I don't think you're ready for questions. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, yeah, because you're gonna find, all of you that are planning these wonderful weddings, it is the word. People are very opinionated when it comes to weddings. But I'm going to tell you, it prepares you if you're choosing to have children down the road. People are even more opinion. So take what you've learned from this wedding experience and times it by like 10, because that's the kind of questions you're going to get if you have children. So, but it just prepare. But people are so opinionated and they're going to turn their nose up at you because they don't like right now, huge trend in weddings, very non-traditional, right?
Mm-hmm.
People that are of my age or around my age they don't like that. They, because when they got married, everyone goes back to the reference point that they can remember in a wedding. And it's, well, when I got married, we did this, that, and the other. Well, not anymore, and I know we're going to get into it, but like wedding ceremonies, zero classical music anymore. And it's more inspirational, one of my favorite things is a groomsmen. They came out, they were all wearing black tie, right? And they all threw on their sunglasses, the grooms and groomsmen, and we were playing the soft, beautiful music. And then all of a sudden came on the Imperial March from Star Wars. And it was like, dun, 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 out of nowhere, right? And they all came marching in their little penguin suits. And but the groom was a huge Star Wars, and then the bride loved Disney, and so it was all like Disney princess music that she walked instrumental versions of it, and so people are theming and doing it. So that's the thing I think is cool, is they're doing it their way and what inspires them, and so therefore in doing so traditions go out the window. So I can't tell you like the last time I played a classical, like very traditional classical
canon D down the aisle.
Any of that. Yeah, I can't tell you the last time I played one of those at a wedding.
That's really great insight, because I just assume that there's still like the super traditional canon D in the church. And then,
well, church is a little different, and it depends on how progressive your church is. If it's still, like we have a very Catholic church. I'm Catholic, so I guess I could say it, but very strict Catholic church here in my town, and it's you still are very traditional. So, but it's also where you choose to have your ceremony. So if you're not
playing Prince in church.
No, you're not. But if you love Prince, you can play him anywhere else. And I guarantee you, there is a million different versions of instrumental Prince music out there that you can find. That's the greatest thing. Like like Elvis Presley, Can't Help Falling in Love. I can't tell you how many different versions of that song I have. And I know we did the whole pop culture, but that song still is popular because of
the Crazy Rich Asian version, especially. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're looking to do entertainment, right? Let's start from the beginning before we start clouding everybody with all the different ideas of what you can do, because there's so much you can do and it's so fun and awesome. But before you get started, what are the things that you need to consider, including the budget?
Well, budget is a big one because that'll determine, how much entertainment we have. And I think, okay, let's, I guess, back up a little bit. I'm a big believer at weddings, guest experience. And I feel like guest experience and entertainment go hand in hand, because if you can bring out like something that was really cool we had at a wedding not that long ago was a character artist. Like you see them at different county fairs or at Disneyland or wherever, but they had a little character artist there and was drawing, doing little characters of all the guests. And that was like kind of their take home favor thing, but also that provided entertainment. If you think about it, because the guests were being very entertained. I just had a live painter on my podcast, and it was, and Brittany. And so she starts with the couple, right? And actually draws a whole masterpiece photo in the middle of the wedding. That's entertainment. So entertainment is not just music. You can look at it like I'm here in the Bay Area, so we have a lot of Asian, culture here, and it's the lion dancers, tons of lion dance. That's entertain. And then we live so close to Hawaii, not close, but 5 hours. So it's closer than you do to Hawaii.
So closer than here.
It's like our, we hop, skip, and jump over the ocean, and we're in paradise. But we have a lot of Hawaiians that live in the Bay Area, so you'll have like, cultural dances and different things, so it's just kind of, and we do a lot of Indian weddings, and so they have all kinds of different dances and traditions, and, all of that is considered entertainment. So budget, some of this is going to come, like you're hiring a live painter, that's going to be a little bit of pricey, right. But hiring like a character artist probably be a little less, but, are you going to have a live band? Are you going to, because there's a really popular live band that I know that is almost 37,000 or something for a night. But I'm going to be honest with you. If you want your guests entertained, they are the best that I've ever seen. Do it. Phenomenal. We just went to the NACE Experience Conference, and there was a band there that performed that reminded me a lot of this band. So there are bands out there that just, it becomes the whole energy, the whole part of the wedding is all about the energy, and they're the type of band. Gone are the days where the band stops. And, it's like they play their song, and it's over, and then they start the next song. These bands are just roll. Like, I don't know how the drummer does it.
It's almost like a DJ.
100%. The drummer, they'll boom, change right into the next song without missing a beat. And the drummer's in the back just like dripping in sweat because literally has been drumming for 2.5 hours. Because they'll go 2.5, 3 hours. I've seen it. It's insane. So, that obviously is on the more expensive side. DJs are a little bit more affordable. Then you got Uncle Joe that thinks he can bring his iPhone and do it, which will be a hot mess. So there's all kinds of different ways, to look at it.
So, with ceremony, with live music or DJ, depending on your venue, I'm sure will also determine what you can do. A smaller space, a live band might be too loud. There's noise ordinances to consider, all these different things, right? So with ceremony, though, what's your advice if you're looking to do a DJ versus live music? Because a DJ, you can technically, if you're going to go back to back from ceremony to reception, you can book them for the whole thing, yeah. Right?
Like we have a ceremony package, and then it rolls right into our DJ service. So it's the same kind of thing. So I think the things when you're doing the like for that is like, some people like the harp, or like it's a little bit more traditional, like string quartet, that feels a little bit more elegant, so think about the feel you want for your ceremony. I think that'll be part of it, or how creative you want to be. So where the DJ allows you to play the Imperial March when you walk down, and having fun, believe it or not, we're recording this on a Tuesday, but last night I had a wedding, and on a Monday night.
You had a Monday wedding?
Yeah, I had a Monday wedding last night, but they did video game music because that's part of their thing. So that's even getting more popular. Yeah. So that's what I think is really cool. It's the feel that you want to have and how you want to. It's kind of like people forget that the ceremony is like the reason why everyone's there. And some people they'll do the ceremony and they'll be like, we just want to get through the ceremony to get to the party, but without the ceremony, there is no party, So right. I think, I love it when people put effort. Like last night, everybody, like he surprised the groomsmen with a song, and it was the NFL theme song from Fox, but it was done on a piano. I've never heard this version. I have like a bunch of different versions of it. I was like, I'm so keeping this because I guarantee I can be able to recycle this and use it again. But
Yeah.
it was so, but the guys are walking down and they had a funny little smirk on their face because, it was the, da-da-dun, da-da-dun, dun-dun, but it was all done on the piano and was really, it was done very well. So I think it's the feeling that you want your guests to have that, and how do you want to come out? It's almost like a coming out party. Like
Yeah.
how much of your personality do you want to bring into it? And there's so many different ways. Like there's a harpist in the Bay Area here that she literally, it's the coolest thing ever. She'll be playing Coldplay. She could play anything modern on the harp. And I'm like, how do you do that? Like, she goes, I just need the piano music. And in my head, I can convert it. And I'm like, that's so genius, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just because you're hearing these modern songs on the harp.
My friend Courtney is a very talented and known harpist, especially around the area. And I actually had her on my previous show, Weddings Unveil with Leah. And it is amazing when you hear these modern songs on a harp and how beautiful it is. And a lot of string quartet bands are doing that now.
Yeah, now.
They're going beyond the canon D and they're playing,
It's funny because there's one that's refusing in my market to kind of, she's very, oh no, we only do the classical pieces.
Harpist?
A string
string quartet.
And I don't see her anymore. And I see other people that do modern music, that are embracing the change. Because that's the thing is some people I think are having a hard time with the change in weddings, period.
There's not as many boomers getting married as there are millennial and Gen Z.
Yeah.
You got to be able to adapt if you want to survive. It's like Who Moved My Cheese? It's like anything else in business, Yeah. One of my faves. With that, I'm so glad you brought up the video game thing because Dave and I were just talking with a friend the other day because the orchestra, I don't know, it was our Cleveland Orchestra or another orchestra, was doing the music from Halo.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because it is, like, people don't realize that you might think Mario off the top of your head, which I think is freaking rad and should be played anyways. But there is a lot of beautiful pieces in like Zelda and Halo and some of these other games. Like, don't sleep on it. I used to fall asleep to the City Skyline soundtrack when I couldn't fall asleep. Someone on YouTube has the whole like soundtrack and I would just fall asleep to it.
That's hilarious.
City Skyline is great. Yeah.
Did you see there was a thing, speaking of Mario, there was a DJ that did this whole, it was like a kind of a trend. I don't know if it was on TikTok. I'm not cool enough to be on TikTok. I'm on Instagram, but it made its way to Instagram and the DJ did this whole like cool set with lights to Mario. It was insane. And the people were losing their mind. Yeah. I will, if I see it, I'm going to send it to you so you can,
Please do.
It was so cool. It was beyond, it was just like next, but that's again, being creative about, what makes the two of you tick. That I think is the biggest thing.
One more thing with Mario. We were at Oktoberfest this past weekend and Spasmatics, a cover band, was playing. And Spasmatics actually, much like Disco Inferno, is kind of franchised out. You can find a Spasmatic in many cities. You might have one near you, actually, Kevin. And they're great. They just like nerds and they primarily play 80s music, but now they're starting to incorporate some modern kind of mix in, probably to keep the younger crowds around. But they were playing Van Halen Jump, and the one guy had a Lego guitar. And the other one, I'll send you photos of this too. And the other one had a Nintendo. Both handles were Guitar Hero.
Oh, no way.
And in Van Halen Jump, when it goes jump, they would jump and the Mario ding like would click, like when he's hitting the box.
That's hilarious.
So when they go jump, you'd hear the Mario thing. It's like, that is so clever. That should be interweaved all the time.
Yeah, that is very clever.
But this is an example of how you can play and have fun and show your, like you said, show your personality. This is about you as a couple. Your guests know you and love you. And so most likely they're going to be on board.
Well, 100%, especially, I mean, you got to remember you're inviting the people that you love. Well, I mean, some of them are you got to invite because it's, dad's business associate. There's a handful of those, but a majority, I would say 3/4 of your invite is people that know you and love you and are going to appreciate that. But again, guest experience, guest surprises. So like with the Imperial March, surprise the guests and also got a big chuckle, but also I think loosened up the guests. Before, they weren't expecting that, I think all that kind of stuff, little touches like that go such a long way at a wedding.
I agree. And like, this is something that I don't know if you are in your process right now where you've already chosen your venue or not, but you really should start kind of thinking about these things when you're looking at your venue, because if you select something that maybe you can't really have a live band because of the sound quality, how it would be in there, and a DJ would be a better fit, you do want to take those things into consideration.
Oh, I think all of that. Well, and even with the ceremony, like
Oh,
outside,
yeah.
like there's the venues in our area that don't allow only live, live like harpist, string instrument, like guitarist, but they can't be amplified. So because
Oh,
they have a noise ordinance, kind of thing. So
yeah.
there's all kinds of different rules. And when you're shopping your venue, I think those are decisions that you're going to have to make. You're going to have to make sure you're, peeling the onion back and asking all the questions and getting everything in there, because you're going to be very disappointed if you were looking for, video game music and you wanted the real thing and you can't do it because you have to have a guitarist. And then
Absolutely.
how hard is it going to be to find a guitarist that can play all these songs? you know
The DJ kind of acts as the MC also for your night and really helps to keep a flow, right?
Yes, good question. And that, it's funny, people ask that question a lot. Like, is a DJ also an MC? And I would say a majority of a good wedding DJ, a quality wedding DJ are. There are like, it's funny, I had a cousin that was got pretty popular, famous club DJ, and he's like, he had zero desire to ever do weddings because he didn't want to MC. And because it's kind of, that's part of the gig. And so he would refer me to them because I would do the MC part. And it's funny, people ask me too a little bit about the music. It's like the music is the least of my problems at a wedding. It's executing everything else. And you laugh, but there's so much truth in it. It's getting everyone through all the different formalities and everything we need to do. That's the harder part of being a wedding DJ than the music. Like the music, the couple's going to give you a list. And if a good DJ listens to their couple and takes their list and puts it together and plays everything, like last night, I am very white. My wedding was very Latin. And I was like, the whole time, I'm like, why did they hire me? I followed their list. The dance floor was packed all night. And I played songs that I've never even heard of, I had to download a bunch of songs. But so a good wedding DJ can do that. It's more about the execution and getting through everything. But there are people that you can hire that just are master ceremonies. And they are kind of take it to a different level than I think what a wedding DJ does, because it's almost like they're storytelling and they're a little bit of comedic in
Yes.
there, and there's a lot. And so again, that's goes back to entertainment. That's guest experience and entertainment right there. But so it depends on what are you comfortable with, just a normal, I'm putting the finger quotes up right now, but like just a normal MC, or are you looking for something a little bit more? Because and I know a couple of them and they're really good at what they do, but they're also several thousands. I mean, you're going to spend lots of money on getting a professional MC because there's a lot of information that they need in order to do their job right. Yeah. And that's a form of entertainment in itself as well.
And something you probably need to vet out with your DJ. It's something I didn't consider in my past life because the DJ was more of just a DJ and didn't really announce things. And so it was like, oh, who's going to know that the cake cutting is about to happen? Who was he going to say this is like the Polish toast? Like what's, you really need to communicate that with your DJ or live band. If it's a live band that's down to like kind of help facilitate all of that, right? Like what's
and
live
that's
band
a very good
do?
question with live band, because live band, some of them will have zero desire to be an MC. And so that's something you really need to vet with live bands, because that I've seen it. I've heard horror stories two different ways. It's the band won't MC anything, so then they think the wedding coordinator will do it all. But the wedding coordinator is there to coordinate the event, not to MC your wedding. But then also I've seen it to where the DJ shows up and then hands the microphone to the wedding coordinator. I don't make announcements. I just DJ kind of thing. And so, you got to figure out both those incidents, but they really needed to hire a professional MC at that point, because you're getting that cool nightclub DJ that you want, but the person can't MC. So I think that goes a long way. So, just know it. Well, and it's funny too, that venue I was telling, the two incidents, that venue where both of those happened, now have a rule. You need to have a professional MC, because your couples are going to be out there, searching these venues. The other thing is ask for the rules and what's allowed and what's not allowed at these venues. And a lot of the rules, you'll be like, what is this rule? It makes you, it's, oh, I have to have a professional. You just think that's like a common sense kind of thing that you would have
Mm-hmm.
it. But the rule's there for a reason because if something happened, it becomes a rule is what I always
Yes.
say.
No, it's true. And I'm glad you brought up the
Yeah.
wedding coordinator aspect because we talked about this more recently with Nora Cully Tuck, who was just on your show as well.
Yep.
And we talked about, how a wedding coordinator is not the same as a wedding planner. There is a difference. The coordinator is there to help you, but their first and foremost priority is to the venue, whereas the planner
Yeah.
is to you. So if you
Yep.
don't have a planner and you're counting on the coordinator, like you said, they're still not going to MC it.
No. No.
Like, that's not their role to facilitate that. So you really need to
Or
figure
they're
out
not
what your
trained.
wants and needs are. And they're not trained either. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine a wedding day where each detail is already taken care of, allowing you to savor every moment. At Sandals, your dream wedding can finally become a reality. From intimate elopements to grand celebrations, Sandals offers customizable packages for every size and style. Plus, everything is included: your accommodations, gourmet dining, premium drinks, and all your wedding services. You get a dedicated wedding planner and an on-site team to manage everything from ceremony to reception. And here's a really sweet deal. Stay 7 nights or longer in a club or butler level room, and you'll receive their Sweetheart Wedding Package, completely on them. That means your ceremony, decor, and even a delicious 2-tier wedding cake. For those of you who really want to be sure, you can even test drive your wedding experience before you book it. Stop dreaming and start planning. Head over to sandals.com today or call 1-877-SANDALS to create your unforgettable wedding experience. You mentioned other live entertainment things that we can do because it does go beyond choosing your DJ and live band. You can have a character artist and a live painter and all that. We just had Sean Edwards, the balloon guy, on the show. And, talking about having balloon art throughout it or tattoos, like the fake tattoos, which is becoming more and more popular. So what is your recommendation on figuring out what of that kind of entertainment is best for you and your vibe of the event, as well as how it affects the flow of the event?
Oh, that's good because some of this stuff is very flow disruptors. So you got to think about, like, example, we had a wedding that brought in classic video games, right? And they put them in for the cocktail hour. Again, that's entertainment, right? Guest experience entertainment. But it was hard to get the folks away from the video games to move them on to dinner because they were so attached to that. So maybe have it to where, all right, all the games are going to go off and we're going to move. And I know photo booths, they'll close, bars will close on a move because that's another disruptor. People will, we're moving into dinner. I need to go get a drink. Nope, bar's closed. You can come get a drink after your butt's in the chair over there because we need to keep this flow going. Same with photo booths. Photo booths is another one that you just close the photo booth for 5 minutes while you move the guests because again, it's squirrel. Oh, we got this over here. I didn't get to the photo booth. I'm going to go do that before I go sit down. Nope, you're not. You're going to go sit down. So it's thinking about the flow, but also having it to where they shut, it's okay to shut down for a few minutes because you got to keep a little bit of order while you're going through the process of the wedding. So
yeah, for sure.
The timeline.
Like you said, and you're in respect the timeline, preach all the time. As a DJ, what's your biggest disruptor for the dance floor?
It's like stopping to cut the cake or stopping to like a group, like photographers love to do group photos. Like meanwhile, I have the dance floor packed, everyone's rocking out, and we have to stop to do something. And that is a dance floor killer.
We were just talking to Craig Peterman of Craig Peterman Photography about this, and he said to do it right before, don't do it when the dance floor's already started. Do it before the dance floor starts.
You have to because it's such a killer. But just thinking about mixing up your formal stuff. Sometimes I'm a big believer too. You can't rush through all this stuff. So I think it's okay every once in a while. Like cutting the cake is a long thing, but throwing a bouquet, you can do that in a minute. A lot of people don't even throw a bouquet. Like we didn't do the bouquet last night. Garters are when you do it, it's what? Are you going to do a garter? No one does garters at all anymore. But some people will still do the bouquet. That's not really a disruptor. It's like a little speed bump on the dance floor. But stopping to cut the cake, and then that And then or moving out of, like, so you have a venue that has multiple spots, right?
Oh,
Once
yeah.
you get them to the dance spot, we don't want to move them back into the reception spot to cut a cake, because now they're never going to come back. That's part of it too, is respecting the flow of the venue itself. So some venues are all one big great room that you can put everything in. Like last night they had pizza and churros for late night snack. I made a quick
Fun.
announcement. I lost the dance floor for a hot minute while everyone ran over and grabbed a churro, but they all came back. But that's, again, a speed bump, not I've lost them for 15, 20 minutes.
Are you still losing the party to sparkler exits, or has that finally died off? That's been a killer in the past.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, a lot of our venues don't allow it, because I'm in California, and remember California, we're very flammable. Yeah, we're very flammable in California, so a lot of that sparkler stuff, bubbles, but they're still doing, like on a Saturday night, we did a private last dance. Have you heard about this?
I've been hearing about private last dance, but no one's really talked about it.
All right, we'll get into that in a minute, but it's very popular all of a sudden. And so, but how do you get everyone out of the room for the couple to do this private last dance, just the two of them? Well, you got to give the guests a reason to leave, and so they did a bubble send off. And it's funny, their professional photographer wasn't gone. One of the bridesmaids was going to take photos of them running. It was more of a distraction to get the guest out, so we can do this private last dance. So private last dance. So some couples became a trend, probably on TikTok or who knows where, but it became a trend where everyone leaves the room and the bride and groom have a moment at the end of the wedding just to the two of them. And there's good and there's bad, with that. And it's usually comes around guest movement or I'm not leaving. I'm like, your stuff, you can come back and grab it. We need, and so I'm like, so the distraction part of it.
Yeah.
And the bubbles in my you could do sparklers in other states that are not flammable like California, but but bubbles in my area seem to be what everyone's doing. And you'll get people with bubble guns. I'm like, here's your bubbles. We need to get you out. The couple, and so it's just getting them out to do it. But it's something that, is getting popular. And
I can see how that can kind of disrupt the flow, though, because at the end, they just come back in and get their stuff and leave. Do you start playing more jams again and get them dancing again? Like, what's the...
No, so it's end. We're done at this point. So,
yeah.
But usually, because some of these venues have a very strict time, so like say, your wedding has to be done at 11. You need to do your very, very last dance about 10, probably 48, somewhere in that market, because then you do your last dance with your group, right? Then we need about 3 to 4 minutes to try to get these people the heck out of the room, right? Bubbles, whatever. Give them a distraction to get them out. You can come back and get your stuff. We just need you to leave. Come on. But you'll see these people mad dash grabbing their whatever they can find and grabbing their stuff. It's pretty funny. But then, then they do the bubble send off, and then you'll get a flow of people coming back in the room to grab their stuff. But it's helpful too if you have your bridal party enlisted to help as like bouncers to get people out to do this. I think going back to the disruption, anytime you stop dancing for a significant thing is not a good thing.
Are people still doing, speaking of disruption, it was trending I felt like forever for a while there, and it was fun, but to me it kind of gets old. But when they were doing the games, like where the couple would sit in the chairs instead of like garter toss and either put their shoe up. Yeah. Is that still a thing? Is that still, because I haven't been to a wedding in a while that's done it.
I'm doing it coming up pretty soon, and it would probably be the first time I've done it in a year. But again, you can do this pre-dancing. So as long as you work that into before we do dancing, I think sometimes it's fun. I'll be honest with you, because you get to know some silly stuff about the couples. And I always think if you're doing something like the shoe game, that's entertainment. That's stuff that'll entertain the guests, but also having the couple have them each send you questions that they want you to ask that the other doesn't know about. So sometimes
that's fun.
Yeah, that is fun, because then you get some in there and you'll get like looks from the groom or looks from the whoever, and they're looking at you like, what this wasn't one of my questions. And so it's kind of funny. So,
Oh, that's
and you
cool.
can't go on long. It's like a
Yeah.
handful of questions depending on the reaction. The other fun thing I did last year that was really fun. You know how you can get people's head, like fat head things. You get so they literally had at the tables where you can grab popsicle sticks that had the bride's head on it, and so they wanted everyone to vote. And so
Oh, that's
yeah,
fun.
so we would ask the question, and then we would poll the crowd, and then they would give us the real answer. After that, I did it without. So we had people raise their napkin for the groom and raise their hand for the bride. Like we had them, so then you can kind of distinctly like look across the room and figure it. There's ways to do it that you can without spending the cost. But it was funny too because everyone was walking around the popsicle. They were all over the dance floor.
I guess
It
I danced
became
with it all night.
yeah,
Yeah.
and taking photos with it was fun.
My friends Ryan and Natalie that got married earlier this year that I had talked about Dave being the officiant for, their dog was the ring bearer.
Oh, that's so
But
cute.
the cat could not be at the venue because the cat is not venue friendly. And so what they did though, they put Zango's as a fat head on sticks, and at the reception, like once things were really happening, then that got brought out and you had like Zango the cat everywhere and stuff like that.
That's great.
And that was fun. That was cute. And glow sticks. The DJ had glow sticks. Can't go wrong with the glow sticks.
No, glow sticks are easy and they look good in photos. And then also flip flops is really popular for the
oh yes,
for the females of the group. The last couple, I didn't have them last night, but my last few weddings I've had, and you can buy them now. Flip flops, they're pretty inexpensive for what I mean. They're not very well made, but you can get the color of the wedding done, and that's really cool because then they're themed. And every girl loves a flip flop for dancing.
Yeah, and you can get like I don't want to say one size fits all, but like if you get a size 6 to 10 that covers most feet, it's gonna be like worn just for a couple hours max, and they can just take it home with them, like whatever.
Yeah, and you can find them online. I think Amazon. My last bride got them on Amazon. So.
Yeah, in bulk. Same thing with like pashminas, like the shawls. You can get those like an all black in bulk if you wanted to, and give that as like a gift or something.
I did a winter wedding one time where the couple was determined to get married outside. It was a little cool. And they had blankets that they gave to everyone, but they were all matching. And that ended up becoming their take home. And it was these cool. But the photo looked really cool.
Oh, that's a really great idea. So it doubles as a favor. There's ways you can, because you know how I feel about favors. It has to be edible or something that's like truly reusable. Like don't put your wedding emblem names and date on anything, please.
A shot glass.
Yeah, like fine. If you're gonna do a shot glass, have it be like the location name or some cool design, but don't be like your cursive wedding names and date. Like it's just no one's gonna keep it.
The coolest favor I've ever heard of at a wedding. I think this is up for opinion, but at the end of the wedding, they surprised the guests with the In-N-Out burger truck, which, here in California. So as they walked out of the wedding, everyone got an In-N-Out burger. And to me,
that is awesome.
Isn't that a great favor? I was like, that again, that's an experience.
Edible.
And it's an edible. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah. I'm with you on that.
Like there's so many, like the koozies.
Yeah.
Like it became so popular come like early to mid 2000s, but like how many get left behind? Oh. It's just currency strewn across the table.
Yep. And no one wants any of that stuff anyway.
You brought up the lion dances. So let's talk more about the different cultural entertainment aspects that we can bring into the wedding.
Yeah. The lion, to me, there's nothing cooler than the lion dance. It's just visually like how high they can do. And so they bring out these like stilts things and they can jump back and forth. I mean, it is such a talent that they do. And, and then they come out and it's a good blessing and all that kind of stuff as well. Also, you don't ever want to be next to the little drummer and the cymbal person because it's a lot of noise as well. So, but think of the culture and I'll be honest with you, there's so many different ways that you can incorporate your culture into it. And that's the other thing too, is like tradition, like I did a Chinese Jewish wedding last year or the year before. It all blurs together. But normally they sign the ketubah, right? Which is a very private moment. And then the tea ceremony, which is always kind of more private, more for family. So what they did is they brought the ketubah, and they signed it out in front of everyone on the dance floor so the Chinese side could see. And then one of the uncles of the groom, he was the Jewish one. He kind of talked about the symbolism and what that all meant and all about it, so the Chinese side can learn. And then they did the tea ceremony in front of all the guests, so vice versa, so then they can learn about it as well.
I
So, and
love
then,
that.
yeah, right. And so again, Indian ceremonies are, a couple hours long. They're very in depth. But I had an Indian gentleman marry a Mexican girl here local. And so the coolest thing is they did two ceremonies. They did like a Western ceremony, and then they did the Hindu ceremony. But the groom's uncle, while the ceremony was going on, kind of emceed the ceremony because he explained what everything meant and why there was fire and why there was, and it was the first time, because I've done so many of those ceremonies, I never knew what anything meant. I just knew I had to do this and that and the other. And it was the first time I was like, wow, okay, now I understand what it's all about. So I think that
makes
too
it that much more special, because you
right?
get the meaning, like the true why you are there.
And then in your understanding why,
Yeah.
my favorite is when they throw rice at each other. That's always kind of fun.
That's cool.
They take it a whole nother level. But there's so many, even there's just so many cultures and so many different things. And I feel like I'm forever learning, because like this weekend I have an Ethiopian wedding, and I've learned I've never done an Ethiopian wedding before. I'm going to be honest with you. So I always question, why did they pick me? Because I'm not an Ethiopian DJ. But I've learned so much, and all the different, cultural thing. I don't know. It's such an education. That's the thing that we are very fortunate. I think in the Bay Area, we are such a melting pot here that we have, because of all the tech companies and whatnot, we have just so many different groups of people that live in the Bay Area that, again, then people marry people that are not their people, and therefore it makes for a beautiful wedding, I always say. So
yeah, cultural fusion is great.
It's so cool.
So destination weddings are obviously super popular now. What are some recommendations if we want to start focusing on our entertainment and we're doing a destination?
I think embrace where you're going. Like if you're going to Mexico, embrace Mexico and bring the traditions of that area, to light, whether, or even like say you're going to Hawaii, embrace that you're on Hawaii, but maybe have a fire dancer come and perform for you, like something that embraces the area and something that you can do, because think about it. A lot of your guests may have never traveled to this location before. And so some kind of like fun educational piece, but it's also entertainment. I think embrace that kind of stuff, whether it's like local music, local entertainment, local dancing, all that, embrace it all.
I love seeing New Orleans weddings, because they all do like the march out into the streets with the umbrellas and the band. And it looks so cool every time I see one.
And that's how they leave the church and go to the reception. It's just a big parade.
So
and they
rad.
they get a permit for it and everything. And you'll see that all the time. And I've done that. Actually, we've done industry like conferences in New Orleans, and they've done that for us to go from one venue to the other. And I've experienced it. It's so much fun.
So see, something fun to consider. And it's also entertaining.
Again, guest experience equals entertainment.
We have to talk about something a little unsexy with weddings, and that's insurance and contracts. But it's super important. We need to be real here. So what are some things that we need to be considering with the contract and insurance when it comes to booking our entertainment?
Well, one, whoever you're hiring should be insured. That's like period. Because that's the problem with hiring some of these people, like a character artist. They may not have insurance, but if something happened or to them, or they did something to a guest, you need to make sure while they're on site, they're insured, so most people that are taking their art serious, if they're taking it seriously, they're going to have insurance. So that's the biggest thing. But also you need to have some kind of contract / agreement with them, because you want to make sure, one, you need to know all the different, COVID brought out all the wonderful force majeure and all these different things in contracts that are now in there, that may not have been in there before, that are in there now. But also you need to be protected as the person hiring it, but also as the couple, as the couple, you need to be protected, but also the business person needs to be protected as well. And then it's clearly defined in the contract what the expectations are of the person you're hiring and what they're providing you, That's
Yeah.
because that a lot of that gets lost in translation. And there's like, I wanted this, but you never hired us for that, kind of thing. So you just,
Over communicate, basically.
I'm a big over communicate. You need
Yeah.
to over communicate because that's where so much gets lost in translation, or it's almost lost in expectation.
We talked about the timeline. Is there anything with logistics we need to be keeping in mind?
I think the biggest thing is if you are a couple, you just need to make sure everyone knows about everything that's on the timeline. So hiring a good, planner is going to go a long way with that because a lot of like it happened to me last night. I had two different things on my timeline that the venue didn't have. And so we were like, well, what's right? And having to figure out all that, what's correct and what's wrong, so I think all that goes a long way as well. So just making sure that, again, over communicate. If you don't have a planner, and I'm a big believer. It's kind of funny. So meet with your entertainment person or your MC last when you're putting together all your final meetings for a wedding, because that person ends up being your voice. So you might meet with your photographer and they want to add a group photo, or they want to add a sunset photos, or they want to add things to the timeline that weren't really discussed. So instead of having to go back to your MC or entertainment person and go, hey, my photographer added this, and now, oh, my videographer wants to do a drone shot here, and blah, blah, blah. Just get all that flushed out before. And so that way, when you meet with your MC, everything's like good to go. Like you're not, you've flushed it all out with all the other with the venue, with the photographer, videographer, anybody else that's coming. Flush all that stuff out. Meet with your MC last.
Great point. You really are the voice of it if you have a DJ.
Well, yeah,
or
you
whoever
really
your
are.
MC is going to be. But yeah, I mean, you're helping guide the whole show of it.
I mean, and stuff
it
changes.
can be a show. I mean,
well, yeah, it can be. But like things happen. Like last night we added a toast, which something like that is pretty normal.
Yeah.
But just like we're not having to do cosmic shifts in the timeline, because that, again, disruptor and causes chaos. And
the disruptors.
Yes. There's a lot of wedding disruptors. You should do a show on disruptors.
We should. We should do it on disruptors. Absolutely. Disruptors. We have to start winding up here, unfortunately.
Okay.
But is there anything you're seeing trending in weddings right now aside from the last dance, the private last dance?
Private last dance is big. And I think, like, again, going back to music, really finding okay, I know something too. All right, I'm coming at you hot here. So two things: keeping the dinner music fun and upbeat. So this is a good spot to hide mom, grandma favorite music, right? And give them one or two for dancing. But like if mom loves a band and you grew up with this style of music, but it's still upbeat, we're no longer putting people to sleep during dinner. So it's gone the like playing the Rat Pack or playing, light jazz in the background, or, string quartet in the, instrument, version of a string quartet. So we're keeping a vibe and keeping an energy, because if table visits go long or anything else, disruptor happens during the timeline, we're not putting people to sleep during dinner. And it's true.
It is like a wine and chill kind of vibe when you're starting to play like Rat Pack and jazz and that.
No,
which is great, but at the same time, it's probably harder for you as a DJ to get that crowd re-ramped up because you just ate, you're full, you've already been on your feet for a minute. And
we've been doing this about I would say almost a year and a half now. And it's been a cool trend. That one, the private last dances, I think those are that's kind of the fun stuff that I'm seeing.
That's great, though.
So, yeah.
Really,
but yeah,
cool
keep your dinner
consider.
music fun. That could be the title of our Keep Your Dinner Music Fun.
What's currently on your bucket list?
Doing a slideshow. Have a slideshow at the bar that's on a loop that loops all night long. That's great. People go to the bar. That's the one place they're going to go back and forth to, and they'll see it there and it's looped, and we don't have to make it a big 10-minute, 15-minute presentation and take away from dancing. So all that kind of stuff is, and if you're not a big dancer, then doing things like that, providing entertainment like that goes a long way. But if you are dancers and you guys want to have fun, just think about the ramifications of some of these decisions you make, because they affect dancing. It all goes back to how much dance time you get.
Oh, for outdoor weddings, the lawn games, because I see that quite a bit on Pinterest here and there. You know,
I think it's great.
Do people
cocktail.
Utilize it?
Yep.
Cocktail hour.
Cocktail hour is a great time. Make sure you have your photo booth, your character artists, all those kind of fun things. That's all good cocktail hour stuff because it keeps your guests, especially if you're having to pay by consumption at the bar. All those kind of things will keep them away from the bar and keep them entertained. So, and then controversial, like last night we had kids at the wedding. Which can be that we could probably do a whole episode on kids at weddings. But the kids were very entertained by the lawn games last night.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. All right. Final question, Kevin. What is your favorite song to get people on that dance floor or keep them on the dance floor?
This is not my favorite song. Not Kevin's favorite song, but I consider songs like a song in my like a toolbox. And for some reason, Earth, Wind, and Fire, September, will get a dance floor rocking. I mean, it just, old or young, it always works. And they make, to the point where they make fun of me, they do. And you want to know something silly? I'm going to drop another silly. It's kind of become my signature second to last song is Usher, Yeah. And it's
so good.
But I have a few DJ friends that make fun of me because I save that. And it's gotten to the point now where a lot of the venues I work at, when they hear that song, they know, okay, last song's next. Like they know that, like it's become such a signature of mine. But that's another song that it gets the dance floor back focused again, and everyone's out there, doing their thing, and then we go into the last song. So,
oh, that's so great.
Yeah, but
I love September so much.
Yeah, my son works for us, and he makes fun of me every time. He's like, "Oh, here we go. Dad's wrapping up."
And I'm going to age myself, but I also love but I love it because it came out when I turned 21.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like a big, I can be legally in the bars song. Kevin, thanks again for being back with us. How can we get more information on you and your company?
So you can find us at fantasysound.com. We're FSES events on the Instagram. I'm Kevin M. Dennis on the Instagram. So those are all the
And
all
you have
places.
A couple great podcasts as well.
Oh, yeah. I should probably promote those.
Promote those.
Yeah. So now that I'm engaged, How Do I Get Married is the one that couples will want. And then if you have a wedding business, it's Mind Your Wedding Business, which Leah has been on my gracious to tell us all us wedding professionals how and why we should be on podcasts. So
I had so much fun being on there.
Because it's fun. That's why. It's fun. It's just a fun conversation that gets recorded.
Well, you're a rock star, Kevin. And thanks again for being on the show. Everyone check Kevin and his podcast out. And we'll see you soon.
All right. Bye, everyone.